Hi, I'm Joe Solari and I help authors build great businesses. This particular video is about the PPP program, and I'm going to specifically talk about this for authors and publishing companies, but it really applies to all small businesses. They recently have announced that the second round of PPP is opening, and I want to talk you through how you can qualify for PPP. It's a forgivable loan that's used for qualified expenses, including payroll. I'm going to explain how you can qualify for this in the second round, and I'm going to talk about it from the perspective of those of you that haven't applied for it at all and those of you that have already applied for it in the first round. So let's begin with the things that are common in both of those rounds. For you to qualify for the PPP program, you need to have been in business before February 15th, 2020. That means that you had to have some revenues coming in. Doesn't mean that you were profitable, but you need to be showing that you're bringing money into a business. Even if that is as a self-employed person on a 1099, you need to be showing that there's income. If you're an author that was just getting started and you hadn't sold any books yet, sorry, but you're out of luck. This is for those businesses that were running and impacted by COVID-19. So if you clear that hurdle, let's talk about the first chunk of people, which is folks that have not applied at all for this program. You really need to do so. Regardless if you're running as a sole proprietor and just paid on a 1099, doing gig economy stuff, have an LLC, or have an LLC or company set up as an S corp and are paying yourself a payroll. Any of these situations, you're going to be able to get qualification for some amount of money depending on the documentation you have. If you have no documentation, you're not going to get any money. These guys are making sure that people aren't being fraudulent, so they need to have some minimal documentation of your sources and uses of funds. Later on, I'm going to share with you a place to go apply for this, a company that I found that's been really good with helping people get these loans. I'm not in any way affiliated with them. I just have been able to receive PPP loans for myself and clients through this company, and I found them to be very good at what they do. So what if you're a company that already applied in the first round and did get funds? You are able to apply in the second round for more funds, but there are additional requirements. Let me walk through those. The first one is you have to have used the money you already got. You have to have the documentation showing that that money went out the door, that you used it for qualified expenses like payroll and the expenses that have been approved. If you haven't done that and you're just sitting on that money, they're not going to give you more. Number two, if you've already gotten money, for you to get more money, you must show a drop of 25% in at least 1 quarter. That means that your gross sales have to have dropped by 25% from 2020 to 2019. And if you do that in any of the quarters, let's say it's quarter 2 to quarter 2, again, 2020 to 2019, or quarter 3, quarter 4, if it happens just once, a drop by 25% in that quarter, then you will qualify for another round. Now, for most authors, 2020 hasn't been bad. They actually have seen sales increase. So you might not be in a position where you can qualify for this second round. If you do qualify, either because you haven't applied in the first round or you do qualify, you meet the requirements for the second round, then you're going to need documentation. The range of documentation you need will vary based on how your business is set up. If you're a sole proprietor, they're going to be looking at tax returns and 1099s. If you're a S corp, they're going to want to see a payroll, and they'll want to see that as best documented on your 941 return to the federal government. The clients that we had the best results with were those clients that were set up as S corps and were paying a significant amount of their profits through on a W-2 as salary. We were able to just send in those records and get approved for 2.5 months of whatever that salary was. In many cases, it's already been forgiven. Now, I can't stress enough that you need to go apply for these funds. They're designed to help small businesses. You may have, in the earlier rounds, felt that, well, maybe I'm not the right person for it, or I want that to go to somebody else. Put that stuff aside and apply. There has been a significant amount of money that has been set up for these loans, and it has not been drawn on between people not either filing for it or because they don't have the right documentation. They have not been able to put all this money out on the street. And this brings us to, where do you go to get that loan? I suggest going to CRF USA, here is the link, and apply for your PPP loan through that site. You don't have to be in the state of Minnesota to get the loan. They loan nationally, and they know what they're doing when it comes to processing PPP loans. And this gets to a last point, and that is having good documentation and running your publishing business as a business with proper record keeping and with the proper business structure is what's made it possible for other authors to take advantage of things like the PPP program. Regardless of what you do with the PPP program, make sure at this time that you look at how you're running your business and start to put those systems in place. So in the future, you'll have the right documentation to be qualified for whatever programs might come down the road.